If you liked Dog the Bounty Hunter, then you remember Baby for sure. Lyssa is a smart but tough teen who could hang with the big boys and more than hold her own. But when the show Lyssa Chapman's life didn't just end, it turned over upside down, so please be quiet. Talking about arrests and breakups that make news moments and a heart-stopping big changes that no one saw coming. Some thought she seemed to fade into the facts. The truth is that she was rebuilding, and now that she's back in the news for they don't have anything to do with looking for her and not knowing where she is now and what she's doing. Stay tuned, because this story of coming back is anything but. Lyssa didn't do anything really special. Not have the best start to their lives. They broke up soon after she was born, and that breakup at a young age left a mark. While most little girls were having fun, house, and making wishes for the perfect family, Lyssa only wanted 2 parents who could be in the room without taking each other apart. After the breakup, she moved in with her dad in Denver. They were not by themselves. Her sister, the 5-year-old Barbara, took on a lot of the parents in their neighborhood, tough on crime and drugs everywhere, but Dog's name meant something, and that kept most of the trouble away from her dad, often busy with work and all the time. Even though Lyssa was with women, she still felt a strong connection with him. She thought of herself as a daddy's girl, even if things at home didn't match up. Always remember that things changed when she was 6 years old and her family got up and moved to Hawaii. For Lyssa, the life on the island was a strange mix of sun and rain and fight, because they are all crammed into trying to live in a tiny studio apartment in Honolulu to make it work. But her dad had this plan of making special moments, such as he rented a fancy car and drove them around one time. Gave out candy all over the city. It looked like a parade. It was crazy, yes, but it was also the something a kid could hold on to. The lighter times didn't go away. When Lyssa saw that the dog's drug use got worse, was often left in her care, that meant a lot of time by yourself, has a TV and a bunch of movies that aren't made for kids, and no one was looking. And she later, they said that growing up in that kind of setting made her feel lost about what it meant to be normal. A long time and many hard lessons, so she could start to figure out what relationships that were healthy should have looked like. And for those who thought Lyssa, she and her dad have always been very close. The truth was a lot messy. At just 11 years old, she said he did, saying he had something important to say. Attacked her years later. She said that it wasn't him but someone close to he who had hurt her, but at the time not being able to get out was all she wanted. Take care of the constant fighting, the chemicals and the stress that comes with them. Living with Dog and Beth when she moved to Alaska to live with her mom. Things weren't going so well there either. Her mom was fighting her demons, especially when drunk, but for Lyssa she thought of a calmer kind of chaos. Had friends from school and for the first time a reason to live. She was set on not going back. Her mom believed what she said about Dog right away. Lyssa said something most likely had more to do with her mom's "more about how I feel about him than anything else." But while most kids her age were, when Lyssa thought about school dancers, she was being faced with a very different truth. At 14 she learned she was pregnant. The next day, their daughter Abby May was born. Lyssa turned 15. The baby's dad was a man in his 20s who would later plead guilty of statutory rape. It was a tough case. A turning point that meant the end of her childhood way too soon. By the time Lyssa she went on her dad's reality show in 2005, she was only 18 years old but already had years of being a parent under her belt. Life, it was hard to be a teen mom, especially with not really having anyone to lean on. With her own mother was tense. After giving birth, her mom moved in with her boyfriend, leaving her, and I left my newborn daughter alone in a trailer and telling her to pay $500 in rent. Being careful to stay together with just money for babysitting, and things weren't much better with her dad, Dwayne Dog. At that point, she didn't really know what to do. Have someone to lean on. Talk about how she really felt at that time. She felt like she had no future ahead of her. Being broke and stressed out in Alaska, she was just trying to get through each day with her daughter. When she finally got to join the crew of Dog the Bounty Hunter, most people had already seen the show. Most likely, people would binge a few episodes to get to know each other, but Lyssa had her family didn't even see it. Do not have cable in Alaska, so when she got there Hawaii to film season 2 of the show were a big surprise. Producers made a big deal out of it, calling the episode "Baby's Back in Town" to draw attention to her. After 6 years away, she came back. Was trying to get back in touch with her dad. She thought she might be able to give that a chance to live her life again. She spoke later about how her thoughts had changed. She was beginning to think that she had back in charge, but not for long. In 2007, a scandal rocked the show. Dog was racist words were caught on tape and the show was taken off the air. They came back the next year and stayed for a while, but it told me that life in it came with the spotlight having problems. In 2013 Lyssa she told the story in a whole new way. Put out a book called Walking on How to Find Strength and Eggshells. Courage in the midst of chaos came from people telling her over and over I thought her life was crazy, thought that if her story could move or it was worth it to help someone else. Sharing with the help of a big in her book, she made it happen. She talked about being abused. She had been in a relationship for years. It began with light pushes and grabs, but step by step grew worse even while she was pregnant, and as she raised her kids. In the beginning the beatings never stopped. Almost killed her in a violent. During the fight, he grabbed her by the neck and threw her to the ground. At that time she believed it was the end, but something she moved and packed up her 2 daughters. They were only 11 and 3 at the time and left. It wasn't going to be easy. Months to get him out of the house, to get a divorce and start over. Lyssa has talked about how hard it is. That kind of love comes after she told him everything she didn't hate about him. When you love someone, it feels like very sick with an addiction or a major issue. She had to accept that it was what it was. It wasn't her job to heal him, and that when you love someone, you have to let go sometimes. When the reality show was over, Lyssa didn't go away. She started putting together a new show about teens, moms who are helping them find work. She was there to help and give real advice. Thought teens were getting too many messages about having sex and getting pregnant. It was either shame or turning away from them. Turning them into headlines. She wanted to get to the bottom of all of that and later show something honest. Told them more about the project she'd teamed up with Bunny Murray and was in. After talking with MTV, the plan was to look into the lives of teen moms and see what they were up against, but it was never the right time, and the show made it to air, but Lyssa didn't go away from the screen fully. In 2014, she made a guest show up on Hawaii 5 and in a few episodes of Dog and Beth on the Find Her Dad Dwayne and Stepmom Beth's House spin-off show, but as she later said, reality TV talk show on the Rumor Mill podcast wasn't calling to her like it used to. If she came back, it would have to stand for something important, something more like a documentary, something that was really important. Besides, for me, business life has been a mix of personal. She went through growth and heartbreak as she aged. Lyssa said she saw her dad more, recognizing that Dwayne in a different way did everything he could to raise her. The bond between a dad and his daughter kept going strong, especially before Beth was told she had cancer. In 2017, Beth was having a hard time with a cough that wouldn't go away, and a checkup showed it was throat cancer in its 2nd stage. In the face of that news, she was set to. During the fight, Dwayne was upset. Interviews at the time made it clear that, eager to keep her safe, Beth had surgery and looked like he was on the mend for a while, but the cancer came back strong in 2018. They talked about her fight in the TV show Dog and Beth fight of their lives. Around the same time things got tense between Beth and Lyssa. Said Lyssa started their fight by not caring about her on Mother's Day in 2019. Things got messy after that. Beth called Lyssa on social media. Lyssa replied, "That's not right. Stupid things don't bother her," and that at the end of her talk, fans jumped into the mix too, with some defending Lyssa and others. Lyssa didn't hold back when she called her out, getting angry with critics and making it clear the outside world wasn't welcome here. No matter all the public back and forth, Beth made the choice to keep her mind on the good points, especially her son Gary D. She told Dwayne in May 2019 she talked about him on Twitter and even sent each other a funny message. Dog that made her feel better. Gary D, by the way, has been going in the family steps, making a name for by himself in the world of bounty hunting. Lyssa, like Beth did, she found ways to center herself. She also talked about how much she loved watching TV, mainly Naked and Scared, and even told them that Dustin, her favorite, was Duck Campbell. The worst part was when Beth died in 2019 at the age of 51. Dwayne shared the heartbreaking news online that it was 5:32 a.m. in Hawaii, Beth's most common time to hike Coco Head, but that she went up a different path the next day. Wikipedia Memorial Lyssa shared her tribute. She put up a picture of her daughter and Dwayne walking hand in hand, writing about how she felt she was speechless on Twitter as she remembered Beth with an old video of the two of they were making fun of Dog and Tim by saying they used to take the boys for runs. Had tried to clear the air about the fight. He said it wasn't nearly as bad as strange as people said, it was just the right amount of friction happened between women with strong wills. He said it wasn't out of love or reconciliations at the last minute before, they had really made peace. Beth passed, but things changed and there was no Lyssa Chapman in January 2020. Back when she learned that her dad Dwayne "Dog" Chapman had been dating for only 6 months after Beth died, his new partner Moon Angel, a woman who had supposedly worked as Beth's assistant for over 20 years and had even been with one of the brothers of Lyssa, that didn't seem right. Having fun with Lyssa, she went on social media calling Moon out for going into Beth's place too soon and asking her questions reasons, especially since she was so close to been with the family for a long time. Grew worse when Dog asked Moon to marry him live on TV during the Dr. Oz show. The moment had all the drama and tears, but behind-the-scenes sources said Moon caught up in the attention and feelings at the same time. Lyssa didn't shut up when someone tried to defend the dog's need for friendship. Lyssa fired back with said something sharp that made it clear she didn't buy any of it. Around the same time Lyssa got into a lot of trouble, this time herself. In January 2020, she was caught in Hawaii for allegedly bothering and being arrested. She told her side to The Sun, saying that it began after an angry fight with her girlfriend and they were both drunk. She said that fights didn't happen and thought the police were being too rough, but court documents showed a worse picture, saying she touched him without permission with police twice, and that was enough to charge her with harassment for a month. After that, Lyssa said she would fight the charges and were even going to file a complaint against the police, calling the whole have an embarrassing and painful experience for her family. But even with all that mess, what she and the dog did began to fix. That March Lyssa put up a family saying it felt good to get together again in Hawaii, reconnect. Then when the dog started to bark once more, this time to Frankency Fry in May 2020, Lyssa didn't just take it, she backed it up and gave Frankency a warm shout out on Instagram and let the world know to move forward. She tried to get Dog, and after that, Frankency sat down with on Entertainment Tonight. They talked about how their bond formed because they both had lost a dog. Didn't know she was calling Francie's house husband had just died not long ago. Their bond grew stronger. Helped each other through the pain of it. Was sad to lose Beth and Bob. A little more. By 2021, Dog and Frankency got married, but the wedding wasn't play. About two of Dog's daughters, Bonnie Suzali and I, weren't on the list of guests. They told the media that they thought it was because Dog thought of them too much. Of Beth, Bonnie even told everyone about harsh accusations that Dog had used the use of racist and homophobic language while movie, and said he hadn't changed. Lyssa, on the other hand, he changed from his old ways, stood by her dad. Not only did she not only went to the wedding, but she also backed up his relationship by saying they were feeling good and speaking out. We hoped that the rest of the family could feel the same peace. Lyssa seemed to be, for better or worse, keeping the hope that both can get better between herself and her father. Then in December, it was in 2022, that she shared a specifics important event, 1.5 years of being sober, but getting there hadn't been. Lyssa watched addiction as a child tear through her family. Lyssa, her mother Ray Britton, had a hard time with drugs, and those early years shaped a lot of what Lyssa found in the end herself going down the same path into drugs and drinking at a young age. Things were very bad in 2011 when she was arrested for making noise at the Peace. She said someone had slipped, she put something in her drink, and the next she was out in public. The next thing she knew, getting lost in the middle of the night and confused. Even after being arrested for drunk driving, it wasn't easy for her to drink off and on for years, but in 2021, it finally clicked for her. Dog, she was sick and couldn't drive to the. It was because she had been drinking, sitting in that waiting room drunk and sick. She had a moment of, she asked herself, what if this was my kid? That question hit her hard. Was enough to make her start those first 30 days of being clean. Things kept getting better when she reached that 18-month mark in late 2022. She said the holidays were, it was hard, but she was set on staying The right way around that time Lyssa was having a rough time with her dad, Dwayne "Dog" Chapman. In a Facebook live stream, Dog said some mean things. Things said about Dylan Mullaney and the even suggesting that the LGBTQ+ community war. It didn't take long for that to happen, especially since Lyssa is member of that group herself. After the live stream, Lyssa spoke up and publicly sorry to Dylan and the transgender people. She said those words didn't show the man she grew up with, and she couldn't say what made she still loved her dad, but told the truth about being scared mostly about the types of media he recently tuned in. Her sister Bonnie also spoke out against Dog's comments, horrifying Lyssa, but it's clear even though she was sad, she stood by her father. She told her fans that she was sure he had always loved her and been there for her, and when accusations came out, that Dog who Lyssa pushed was homophobic or racist back up, she said her sisters were changing the truth and the situation, getting together with old friends who never cared about what was best for the family. Lyssa stayed through it all. She was rooted in her own life. She was married to Boalanti before and they had a daughter named Meline. That marriage didn't work out. Last a long time, but Lyssa wasn't done. She fell in love with Liana in 2016. And got married in a Hawaii beach wedding. It was simple and lovely, just a few of close family, the waves at their Lyssa's uncle David officiating, and her feet. It was with her daughters Meline and Abby. Lyssa called her new in-laws and her new husband. She called it a dream day and said she was lucky and deeply loved, even having to say that she didn't always think she earned this kind of joy. Both women wore white, Liana in a long, flowy dress, Lyssa in a shorts and a button-down shirt, and they put on bright flower crowns from the tropics. She put up her own message after the saying she still couldn't go to the wedding. "I can't believe she got to be with Lyssa for all time now." Dog wasn't at the wedding. Lyssa made it clear that wasn't because he was in a fight. The phone with her all morning at the event. He told People magazine that he couldn't go back to Hawaii, not yet. It was still too hard without Lyssa. Beth still said he had always shown love for her partner and for her. Now let's move on to happiness 2024, and Lyssa shocked her fans by possibly a hint at a return. She shared an old bounty hunting picture and said she was about to get her bail license again. Test fans lit up the message boards with support. She told them she used to have her license when she worked on the show with her dad, but let it go away. As for whether she's going back to bounty full-time hunting or just being ready, she made it clear that the name Chapman isn't done yet, and to show the whole picture, Lyssa has taken on a very different part.